Good evening and welcome to our nightly telecast of Just the News, which is just the news, no fuss, no shouting, no opinion. Also, as an added perk for you, if there's any story you hear about in Just the News and you want to read more about it, well, the source links of the news articles are pasted in the description of this video on YouTube, just to make life a little more interesting for you. So remember, tell us if you find this useful and if there's anything else you would like us to add to Just the News. Also, we hope you've had a good holy weekend. Let's get straight to the news right now. Interesting information on the COVID front. India reported 56,211 cases of COVID in the last 24 hours. Now, you'll remember it's come down a little bit from the 62,000, a little more than 62,000 we reported on Friday. And technically that should be good news. But news reports are telling us that what actually happened was that testing came down drastically over the weekend because it was the Holy Weekend. So a lot of people didn't get tested, and that's why we've got a lower number. That doesn't necessarily mean that the actual instance of COVID in India has come down. Now, we also had 271 deaths across the country because of COVID in the last 24 hours. Again, this is worrying because since we have the vaccine and we're manufacturing large amounts of it, these 217 deaths do seem like they could have been avoided altogether. Maharashtra still the worst affected state, 31,643 cases, followed by Karnataka, Kerala, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, who've reported around 2,000 cases in the last 24 hours. The Union Health Secretary, Rajesh Bhushan, has said that there are 10 districts across the country reported a maximum active number of cases. Now, these districts are Pune, Mumbai, Nagpur, Thane, Nasik, Aurangabad, Bengaluru Urban, Nanded, Delhi, and Ahmednagar. Now, here's the thing: most of these districts are in Maharashtra, and this was the case for the last couple of weeks. But Bangalore Urban and Delhi making their way into the top 10 districts of COVID cases is also reason to worry for citizens of this city. Now, Maharashtra has announced a complete lockdown in Aurangabad starting today up till the 8th of April. Only essential services will be allowed to move in that district. This comes after Aurangabad has actually reported about 1,700 cases of COVID in the last couple of days alone. In the meantime, the state government is also likely to release a new standard operating procedure, basically a new set of rules starting the 1st of April with more sort of restrictions on movement of people. But they've also said, the state government has said that they will not be bringing a full lockdown into the state of Maharashtra just yet. In Mumbai, we hear reports that there are a worrying number of COVID cases. Of course, 5,870 COVID cases were reported in Mumbai. It's also seeing private hospital COVID beds fill up very quickly. And so the BMC, which is the civic body of Mumbai, has now actually released new regulations for hospitals. This sounds a lot like what happened last year. In these regulations, asymptomatic COVID patients without any sort of comorbidities will not be given COVID beds in public or private hospitals. They will be asked to quarantine at home. The beds would be given to patients who really need it. So these are people with mild or serious symptoms and COVID patients with comorbidities. The BMC Commissioner Iqbal Singh Chahal has also told assistant commissioners to make decisions at ward levels, and he stressed on the activation of war rooms for better management of available beds, ICUs, ventilators, and others. Now remember, this is how it works in Mumbai. Private and public hospitals, if there is a patient who needs to be admitted into any of these hospitals, it is the BMC that allots the bed and not the hospital themselves. So there will be war rooms created on the ward level to actually expedite admission of people into hospitals and giving them allotment of beds. Now, it's also said that direct admission into any COVID care center, private hospitals, is not permitted without prior information to this war room. And 80% of the total beds and 100% of the ICU beds of private hospitals will be reserved for this allotment. The BMC has also decided to place an order now for 1.5 lakh doses of the antiviral drug remdesivir and other medical equipment to avoid any sort of shortage. So this does, of course, seem like the BMC is putting on its emergency hat again. But disappointing news that the central government received a request from the BMC in Mumbai to go door to door and vaccinate those people who aren't able to come to the centers either because of old age or because they're visually impaired or they have other disabilities. The center has said no, they have turned down that request. Now, according to a report in the India Today, the Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan has said that we haven't received any specific request from Maharashtra to conduct door-to-door vaccination. In India, we do universal immunization, and even there we've not done door-to-door vaccination. According to the Mumbai Mirror, which has also put out a report, BMC's additional Municipal Commissioner for Health, Suresh Kakani, has said that nearly 1.5 lakh people in Mumbai are either old or bedridden or handicapped and can't move out of their homes for vaccinations. We've written to the centre to allow us permission to visit them and vaccinate them. But the central government officials have told us there's no such policy available right now. He says it would have helped those confined to their homes. In other worrying news coming out of Maharashtra, a mob of sword-wielding protesters broke through the barricades at a Gurudwara in Maharashtra's Nanded district after the police refused to allow them permission to conduct a procession. And this was because of COVID. They attacked the policemen, and we understand 4 people have been injured. 18 people have been detained for violence and for violating the COVID rules of the state of Maharashtra. Superintendent of Police Pramod Kumar Shivale has said the Gurudwara had been informed that the Hola Mohalla procession will not be allowed because of COVID restrictions. He said Gurudwara authorities and elders had even agreed to a low-key celebration, but youngsters got impatient and barged out of the gate. The video of this particular incident of policemen being attacked with swords is now gone viral. In Sopore in Kashmir on Monday, terrorists attacked a Block Development Council's meeting, allegedly targeting the Block Development Council chairperson and BJP leader Farida Khan. Now, BJP leader Farida Khan apparently escaped unhurt, but 3 other people, 2 councillors and 1 security officer, personal security officer, died in the attack. Soon after the attack, the police blamed the Lashkar-e-Toiba militants and said it was allegedly this attack was carried out by local militant Murdasir Pandit along with a foreign militant. This is newspaper reports quoting the police. The IGP Kashmir also took serious note of the poor and inappropriate retaliation by personal security officers and has directed the suspension of 4 of those officers. Let's take a look now at news coming in from the world of business. Petrol and diesel prices dropped ever so slightly on Tuesday. They came down by 22 paise. Now, this is state-run OMCs who have decided to cut petrol and diesel prices by 22 paise on petrol and 23 paise on diesel. Now, these prices have actually stayed stable over the last week or so. Some say owing to the elections that are taking place in various parts of the country. But effectively, to just give you an idea right now of what the prices are, for petrol in New Delhi, you'd be paying 90 rupees and 56 paise and diesel 80 rupees and 87 paise. It's well above that in several other parts of the country, like Mumbai, for example, is paying 97 rupees for petrol. Now, we understand that this extremely marginal decrease has come for 2 reasons. One, now that the Suez Canal is no longer chock-a-block and blocked by that one ship and movement has begun, it means that we will not face a shortage of, of any sort of supply of oil. Also, we understand that domestic consumption seems to have decreased because several states are now announcing some sort of COVID restrictions across the country. Last month, petrol hit 100 rupees, you will remember, in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, and Union Petroleum and Natural Gas Minister Dharmendra Pradhan said the rising global crude prices are resulting in higher petrol and diesel rates. Also, let's not forget the government themselves have increased the tax that the central government charges on both of these products by about 13 rupees in the last 1 year. Gold was down as well. The price of gold came down by 0.4% and it's hit almost a 1-year low. So gold per tola or 10 grams is currently at 44,538 rupees. And it's been coming down now for 4 straight days. Now, there are a couple of reasons why this is happening. Firstly, the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman had proposed a cut on customs duty on gold. It was 12%, it's now 7.5%. and because of this, prices have come down and the domestic prices are seeing a decline. The other reason is, of course, gold is traded in the global market, global commodities market, with the dollar. So fluctuations in the dollar tends to impact gold. During the COVID pandemic, markets were volatile, rates offered by banks were subpar, and so a lot of people were storing value in gold. Things are starting to change and recover now. People are moving their money back into traditional investments. Gold prices are coming back down. All right, let's take a look also now at news coming in from across the world. We have to look at what's happening in Bangladesh. Now remember, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi was on a 2-day visit to Bangladesh last week. After he left, there were protests. Hundreds of members of hardline Islamist groups apparently attacked Hindu temples and vandalized a train in eastern Bangladesh on Sunday, according to a report in Mint that quotes the local police and a local journalist. The violence spread across the country after our Prime Minister Narendra Modi left the country. Local police and doctors have been quoted saying at least 11 protesters were killed in clashes since Friday between the police and demonstrators. So this is what happened on Friday. Dozens of people were injured in Dhaka after the police used tear gas and rubber bullets on the protesters. By Sunday, those protests swelled and thousands of protesters marched the streets in reaction to the police action on Friday. The police have been quoted by the press saying that activists of the Hifazat Islam group attacked a train in the Eastern District and injured 10 people in that attack. Prime Minister Modi visited Bangladesh for 2 days last week. He also gifted the country 1.2 million doses of the vaccine before he left. News coming in from the US. Joe Biden, the President of the United States, has said that 90% of the adults in the United States will be eligible for the COVID vaccination by the 19th of April and the final 10% by the 1st of May. Now, this is an accelerated plan compared to the initial plan that they started off with. Biden also said that nearly all adults will be able to get a vaccination within 5 miles of their homes. As many as 100 million shots have been administered in the US in less than 60 days, and they're now moving to the next 100 million shots in the next 40 days in the US. Canada has suspended the use of the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID vaccine for people under the age of 55, reacting to reports from Europe of blood clots. Now, this follows reports from Europe of rare but serious blood clots, bleeding, and in some cases, death after the vaccination, mainly in young women. No such cases have been reported in Canada at all, where 307,000 doses of this particular vaccine has been administered. Last week, Denmark extended its suspension of the AstraZeneca vaccine for another 3 weeks. Sweden has decided to use it only on people older than 65. Other European countries that had suspended the vaccine have now resumed it after the European Medicines Agency declared it safe and effective. The US is suspending all trade with Myanmar under the 2013 Trade and Investment Framework Agreement as the military continues to hold power by detaining elected leaders and, of course, by perpetuating violence on its citizens and protesters. US Trade Representative Catherine Tai has said the United States strongly condemns the Burmese security forces' brutal violence against its own citizens. The killing of peaceful protesters, students, workers, labor leaders, and medics and children has shocked the conscience of the international community. End quote. The announcement follows the military's deadliest crackdown on protesters, which saw over 100 people killed this weekend. Moving on to science and technology, really cool story to share with you guys on science and technology. Now, artificial intelligence or AI developer Jagdish K. Mahendran and his team have designed an AI-powered, voice-activated backpack that will help visually impaired people navigate the world around them. Now, this backpack will help detect common challenges, traffic lights, obstacles, moving objects, staircases, things like that. The system is housed inside a small backpack with a computing unit like a laptop and a vest jacket that has a camera in it, and the pack will be used to hold a pocket-sized battery that can run for about 8 hours. A Bluetooth-enabled earphone lets the user interact with the system, and the user moves through their environment. The system audibly conveys information about obstacles that might be in their way. That's really cool. I enjoyed reporting that story. All right, on to some news in sports. A former Indian all-rounder Irfan Pathan has now become the 4th cricketer who represented India legends at the Road Safety World Series T20 tournament to test positive for COVID. Irfan tweeted that he's tested positive without any symptoms just today. His brother Yusuf Pathan, Sachin Tendulkar, Subramanian Badrinathan were also tested positive for COVID over the last few days. Manchester City Football Club has officially announced the departure of Sergio Aguero. Aguero will leave City after the current season. The 32-year-old striker's contract expires at the end of the season and he's been told it won't be renewed. He won the Premier League 4 times, the League Cup 5 times and the FA Cup once while with City. All in all, he scored about 257 goals in 384 appearances with the team. Aguero has been linked to a move to Barcelona, who is still looking to replace departed Luis Suarez. One piece of positive news before I let you go for the evening. In Delhi, the Inclusive Education branch of the Directorate of Education has identified 2,300 children across the city with special needs in government schools, and they will be encouraged to take up extracurricular activities as per their skill and merit and ability. According to the Hindustan Times, the department will now distribute items like instruments, musical instruments, sports items and assistive devices to enhance mobility and accessibility. Officials at the Inclusive Education branch also said the department has plans to provide devices required to train in areas like swimming, cricket, self-defense, football, chess, dance and painting. That brings us to the end of Just the News tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Leave us a comment. Check out the extended reading in our YouTube channel and of course like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Good night.